Have faith, let it begin. Hello everyone, my name is Angel, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Have Faith, Let It Begin. I'd like to start off by thanking GABBIE Santana for her use of our theme song, Tested. GABBIE Santana, we love you and we thank you for your support. We encourage all of our listeners to visit her YouTube channel, GABBIE Santana. 14 years of age, she's written, produced, and performed many songs. They're unbelievable. Check out her page. For all of you out there that are new to the channel, we welcome you and we invite all of you to our like page at Facebook, Have Faith, Let It Begin. And also, don't forget to email us at havefaithlig@gmail.com. This way you can reach out to us with any ideas, questions, and we'd love to hear some feedback regarding our show. I like to get started off by talking about something that I think is important. And you read the title, Scary Bosses. Yep, scary bosses. We have all had those. A boss, in my opinion, speaking from my own experience of 20 years of management, a boss should be a mentor. I believe the way I was taught by my mentor, and I'm grateful that he has been a very huge part of my life and my career. And I'm happy to announce that his name is Ralph. So Ralph, if you're listening, this is kind of dedicated to you. The beginning of part, of course, because there's going to be some talk about negative bosses, and I don't ever think you are a negative boss / mentor. But a boss, a good boss, it has to be a mentor. They should be a mentor. They are direct. As a matter of fact, Ralph used to tell me, you're only good as your staff. And he always would take so many steps to making sure that we look good. He gave us all the tools we needed. He always asked, what do you need from me? What can I do to make your job easier? And he also didn't have a problem with getting dirty, getting his hands wet and getting into the sales, into the thick of the process. And maybe that's not the greatest words I'm trying to come up with in that moment, but he just didn't have a problem with getting into the work. A mentor should always look out for his staff. Now, to be fair, when I have done things that were inaccurate, he would allow me to fail, but he would be the first one to pick me up, dust me off, and say, okay, so you made a mistake. Let me show you why you made that mistake, and let me show you how to prevent you from making future mistakes. That is what a mentor should do. A mentor should also respect you, be professional, and at all times give you the courtesy of an explanation when he or she believes that something has transpired in the workforce and he or she needs to get to the bottom of it. In other words, innocent until proven guilty. My mentor was always there for me. Even when I wasn't working for him, I can still call him. That is a mentor. Scary bosses. A lot of times when people take a title, they take it to the extreme. They don't realize that the title truly is something that you should take as a badge, but as a badge of honor. You have been given authority because people have trusted you with their business, have trusted you with your work ethic. When you take that work ethic and that honor that they've given you and you use it in the wrong way. For example, when you abuse the authority that you've been given, people don't respect you. They never will. One of the things that I couldn't stand about having a quote-unquote scary boss is intimidation. I used to have a manager that would call me and say to me, you got to get those sales up, man. If you don't get those sales up, hey, I don't know what to tell you. Your review's coming up. A lot of people looking to get your job. Yep, I used to have that kind of boss who would threaten my job almost every single day. I used to have a boss that would write that, I wasn't the greatest email, or I should say not even email. I wasn't a great, I didn't articulate my words very well. As you can tell right now with this episode, I can't even get my words out. But I mean, my grammar wasn't the greatest. It took years of practice. And I still struggle with it, but I'm a lot better and I'm more confident in it. But I used to have a manager that would literally write me back an email and say, check your mailbox, like my actual physical mailbox. He would print my email and he would grade it like he was a teacher with a red pen. And he would tell me what I did wrong and how embarrassing this would look. You know what? Point taken. If there is a lot of grammatical errors, understandable. But not that I'm asking him to be my English teacher, but out of common courtesy, he could have resent me back the email and says, hey, there's a couple of grammatical errors. Do me a favor, recheck this before you send it, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that at age, my early 20s, late 20s, that's something he or she should do. But if you notice something and you know that I have a shot of not looking great, look out for me. Excuse me. Another thing that I never understood. When you're a good manager, you know your staff. You can identify issues, problems. You can identify when things are not going the way they're supposed to. You can almost tell when a person that works for you's attitude has altered or changed. You can tell when feedback coming from other employees or other management team are complaining or not happy with your work or the way you're treating them. You have to identify problems and you have to try to fix them in ways that make your team better. Don't allow a manager to abuse his or her title because you think it's better that they do it than you do it. For example, I had a manager recently. He used to come up to me and he would say, I want you to be really, really difficult on this person, because we want to fire them, but we rather have them quit. So that way, if they quit, we don't have to give them unemployment. And I would say to them, listen, I'm not going to be hard with them. I'm going to train them. I'm going to get them out of this funk to the point where if I train them enough, I know they can be successful. No, we don't have time for that. They either can do it or they can't. And I was like, wow, what is the point of me being their supervisor, their team leader, if I can't lead them to success? And I got such a backlash from him when I said that. And we'll talk about that in just a second about retaliation. But so I took it upon myself to really, in a way, I guess you can say I was not following direction. But I felt that there's a difference between right and wrong. And I took it upon myself to make sure I trained this individual. And it got to the point where I trained them so well, they actually avoided being fired. And it was a really cool experience for me because I watched them grow. And the retaliation that I got was usually when you're a manager and you get your trainee and your trainee is on your team, you have to really focus on them. You get them to a certain level and, then they become, quote, like a veteran. So you don't really have to train them as much. You just got to kind of keep an eye on them, do a couple checklists here and there. Well, it got to the point where she was so good that I was able to focus my attention on other people. She avoided being fired. So when I did that, my manager retaliated on me, not coming up to me and saying, by the way, I appreciate the fact that you really believe in this person and the fact that you worked hard and look, it's paying off. Great job. Or, but next time I really want you to follow my lead, or next time talk to me offline. Let's work out a plan. All this stuff. No, you know what I got? Effective immediately, we're moving her off your team and we're putting her on another team. And I'm like, why? Why would you take her away from me when I worked all this worked so hard, and now she's doing above and beyond, and it's not only making her look good, it makes me look good, and ultimately makes you look good. Why would you take her away from me? And you know what his response was? He says, so that you can know how it feels like to not have the, how do you put it? Let me put it this way. Hold on. I remember the words. I want to make sure I say it exactly right. I said, why were you taking her out of my team? He says, so that you can feel what it feels like to lose something that really isn't yours. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. He says, it does. I'm the boss. You work for me. And now she works for somebody else. Life is not always, perfect. So, he ended up putting her on a team that was at the time considered elite, which conveniently went under his numbers. And but they didn't have a good working relation. He didn't really train her. He didn't really follow up on her. So eventually, when she started to struggle, he allowed her to continue to struggle, and he just fired her. Actually, to be fair, he didn't fire her. She eventually just quit and gave up. So I guess you can say that he won that battle. But in reality, we lost as a team. So that's just an example. I've seen so many different stories about individuals that come into a workforce and they are treated like crap by managers. And of course, the ones that, do everything the boss wants usually get treated well. But it also seems like the ones that are the most gung-ho at times or has the respect of their peers are the ones that are tested. I've seen that a lot, especially in the sales industry. The current job that I hold now, there's times where our managers, they come in with an attitude. And when they come in with an attitude, they take it out on you. And it's sad. And then like an hour later, it's like nothing went wrong. It's like everything's back to normal. Sorry, everybody, I'm battling allergies. So I'm just going to leave it this way. If you're a manager, or if you strive to be a manager, a good manager looks out for their employees, looks out for the well-being and the capability of their staff, and they look out for the overall picture of how their business, their structure is going to benefit the team, your staff, and your company. Do not allow anyone to come in and place a bad seed in your industry. If they are giving you bad environment, if they're causing hostile work environment, if they're causing issues, gossip, it's time to move on. But don't allow a manager to abuse their authority. Don't allow a manager to intimidate you and scare you to the point that when you wake up in the morning, you don't want to go to work. Here's the only advice I can give you. If you are in a job right now that you need, that is paying well, that does feed your family, and you have a boss like that, just go in with the mentality that A, I'm a good worker, B, I am reliable, and C, I will not let this person steal my joy or steal away something that I know I'm good at. On the flip side, if you're a manager and you have been doing these things to your employees, it's time to make a change. It's time to be the manager that you were given the title for. Take 2 steps back, realize and structure yourself to be a mentor, be an inspiration, be the rock and soul of that company and of your team. But do not abuse your authority. Do not abuse your badge of honor and the title that you've been given. Instead, look up and see the team you have. Make them strong, because with that team being strong, you and your staff and your company and your business that you either own or are a direct reflection of will succeed. I'm happy to say that my mentor gave everything he did to his staff on multiple occasions. And it's because of him why I believe in my business life I have become a success. And I owe that to you, Ralph. And I dedicate this show to you. To all the people out there that are watching and listening to the show on YouTube or listening to us on platform, thank you. And I hope that you all can be better managers, better colleagues, and better employees because of this episode. For Have Faith, Let It Begin, my name is Angel. Have faith, let it begin. I can see Ralph right now just having fun listening to this show.